And now let's give a chance to dogs, cats and horses. And Mrs. Izabela Jaglarz from the Regional Center for Microorganisms in Bobrowniki will present the issue of those animals. Ladies and gentlemen, the time for our presentations is too limited, so I decided to focus. But you have 15 minutes. Yes, but I have to talk about 3 animal species within 15 minutes. This would be quite a challenge, but let me try. Let me focus on dogs, because dogs are really close to my heart. I have also 3 horses and cats, so I will talk about them too from time to time. And because many people are calling me with different inquiries about dogs, as we all know, they are quite common. And we also received some statistical data from the United States. And we have a lot of dogs at our households, but they often become ill, just like people. So let's try and focus on dogs. My experience with dogs began quite a long time ago, about 15 years ago, when I started breeding pedigree dogs, the first Irish Terrier. I fell in love with this breed, and those terriers are at my home until today. My company is called Mahagony. I'm a member of the International Federation FCI, based in Brussels, and I'm also the president in the Polish Association. At present, I have 7 adult dogs, 2 puppies aged 5 and 6 months. Dogs are, as opposed to cats, can eat anything. In order to balance a dog's diet correctly, we also cook their food, and we only add 1/3 of meat into that. And to increase the volume, we also use vegetables. I assure you, you can give any vegetables to your dogs, including potatoes, and also rice and grits. Dogs are also very happy to eat quite unfresh products. They like to eat some smelly carcass. And as we all know, as dog owners, very often they have gastrointestinal problems or food poisonings. It happens to dogs very often, and this is quite a common problem and quite serious. The main problem, if you are breeding dogs, apart from food poisonings, are diarrheas among puppies. These problems causes most deaths among puppies up to 2 weeks of age, and also certain bacterial and viral infections like parvoviruses or hepatitis. Also, we were feeding our dogs for many years with a ready-made dog food. This was quite a short time. Maybe after several years we could talk about side effects of this kind of diet. We could tell about the disease they might cause. Already we know that more and more dogs suffer from food allergies. Those food allergies have different manifestations, such as gastrointestinal problems, but also their manifestation is strong skin itching. Plus, we have super infections such as staphylococcus infections, and if we have immunological problems, then this infection develops, and we have many years of problems with our pet. As I mentioned before, diarrhea in puppies is a common problem, but also infections and poisoning in nursing mothers, nursing females. The probiotics that I am using for 7 or 8 years now, I can compare them against what happened before and what was the quality of life of my dogs and how the puppies are growing up and maturing. We have to start taking care of the pregnant female as early as possible. She always gets a double dose of EM15 probiotics, and this dose must be adapted to the female's weight. She can weigh from 2 to 80 kilograms, so the dose also must be adapted accordingly. It's between 2 to 20 milliliters per day per animal, depending on the weight. So what's important when we use probiotics, when breeding dogs, cats, or even horses, is to use them regularly. We should start from the birth of the dog and supplement with probiotics for its entire life. This is the basis for success. I give them probiotics using a syringe without a needle directly into the mouth. Then I know each of them ate the right portion of probiotics. And the puppies which are born already directly after birth receive 1 drop of EM15 directly into their mouths. They produce a lot of saliva after that because it's sour, and they react with excessive saliva production, but you shouldn't really worry about that. You can still supplement the probiotics. After 5 or 6 weeks, they are really in love with the preparation. When they see me with a syringe in my hand, getting ready to give it to them, they really wait and in a line to get their portion of probiotics. And then there is no problem to give it to adult dogs when they get used to that. In case of sick animals, if they have food poisoning and need to undergo antibiotics therapy, then we need to increase the probiotics dose twice. So an average dog, let's say 15 kilograms, if it gets 5 milliliters a day normally, under antibiotics therapy it should receive 10 milliliters of probiotics. For external care, we can use BioClean Soft. This has very nice smell, and it's white, so we can use it on white dogs. It doesn't cause any discoloration of the fur. And this complex care for dogs, using the probiotics internally and externally with BioClean every day. We can also spray them with probiotics. We can spray the places where they sleep. And it's a very good protection against skin problems. It limits the number of external pathogens. Very rarely we have some attacks from ticks. They hardly ever catch any tick. When I compare them to the dogs of my neighbors and friends, they complain about their dogs getting attacked by ticks all the time. But if you really take care of your dogs using probiotics, this parasite invasion, both internal and external, is really under control and vastly reduced. And here you can see my last female. She was nursing her puppies, and she's getting a double dose every day, morning and evening. And also we have to take care of her mama, and they are also damped with probiotics, and I also clean her feet when we come back from the daily walk. Here you can see me spraying her milk glands, especially when we come back from the walk outside. And also this is how you can disinfect the surrounding of the dogs. And the little puppies also need to be sprayed with BioClean or probiotics. Every day they receive a dose, 1 drop directly after they were born, and at the age of 5 or 6 weeks they get about 2 milliliters of probiotics directly into their mouths. And as you can see, those grown puppies really rush to me to get their portion of probiotics. They really lick it from each other's mouth. They really love the probiotics. They love the taste. For bathing my dogs, I'm also using products with ProBio Ems. I mean bioorganic soap and BioClean Soft. I create a mixture which is a kind of shampoo which is really beneficial for the animal's hair. I also have a Scottish Shepherd, the Collie. I think you know Leslie from the movies. I take her to shows, and my friends spend loads and loads of money to dog cosmetics, but if you try to use only the soap and BioClean or probiotics, then really their hair look beautiful, they are shiny, they are silky. I don't need to use any lacquers, any powders, and other owners really use tons and tons of them during dog shows. I think this should be forbidden. And also when we talk about ear inflammations, some kind of yeast infections, which are often the case in dogs, we can use diluted probiotics, 1 to 10 dilution. And with this spray, we can spray the inside of the ear and then clean it. We can also put it very deep in the dog's ear because of the anatomy of the ear. We can put the cotton pad very deep. Even if you put your finger very deep into the dog's ear, nothing will happen, and you can thoroughly clean the ear in that way. I also wipe animals' eyes with this solution, and if they have any infections in the conjunctiva, I can recommend Extrai. Extrai is fantastic as eye drops for animals. Just put a few drops every day in the dog's eye. And Extrai is also fantastic. What I found this year, we have a lot of flies in my farm, and it's also great for horses. One of my horses had conjunctivitis after being attacked by some black flies. So when she came back from grazing, she had epiphora, she had red eyes. She was trying to rub her eyes against the wall. And if we use this injection of about 1 milliliter of Extrai into the horse's eye, the eye becomes white and quiet after about an hour. If we have wounds in dogs or horses which won't heal easily, we can also spray them with 10% probiotics. But also you can make a paste at home. You can mix Extrai and also just a ProBio powder, just a little at the top of the teaspoon. Plus, you can mix it with calendula ointment and then apply it to the wounds. It's especially good for horses because if you keep horses, then you know that if a horse gets hurt, it takes a long time to heal, much longer than in case of dogs. And it's also very good if you try to produce a powder at home. You can use Stark and mix it with ProBio powder. The proportion is 10 to 1, 10 grams of Stark to 1 gram of ProBio powder. And this is really great for treating those wet and purulent wounds in dogs. I don't know if you encountered this problem of hot spot This is quite common, especially in some breeds, in short hair breeds. This is like a limited round spot on the skin. So you can try to use this powder, and it really works very well from my experience. We cannot use ProBio powder undiluted directly on the wound because it would work maybe well, but it could be quite painful to the dog. If the dogs sleep outside in kennels, we can also spray the kennels with M-Farm Plus or with MA. And we should also spray the whole apartment and the places where the dogs sleep every day. BioClean also works very well in treating post-operative wounds. This is a female which was sterilized, and she also had to undergo the mammal gland excision procedure. This wound took a lot of time to heal. When the vet visited us after 2 days, the vet was surprised that I achieved such a good effect without any edema, without any bruisings, just by spraying the postoperative wound with BioClean. And this is my collie. She really has fantastic, beautiful hair, and she doesn't need any care apart from probiotics. So, one more thing I wanted to add. You can also add ProBio ceramics into water for animals. This water should be put in a separate bottle with probiotic ceramics in it, and you should give this water to your animals to drink. So, to sum up my experience, my many years of cooperation with the beneficial microorganisms, they vastly increase the welfare of animals. The animals' health is improved. I do not have any health problems related to diarrhea or to respiratory duct inflammations as I used to experience in the past. Also, fertility improved. I do not have any problems with fertilities. If you are breeding pedigree animals and you are bringing the female to a male for several hundred kilometers, that could really be a nightmare. I also saw that the time to delivery to birth is shorter. My females are in much better condition now, also the older ones. Before, during labor, I had to give them 2 or 3 injections of oxytocin, not to make them too exhausted, because sometimes they are giving birth to more than 10 puppies, and oxytocin was necessary in order to reduce the time of labor, to accelerate it. Now my females can deliver the puppies within 2 to 5 hours at the most. With many puppies, some in the past they used to deliver for 12 or 14 hours. And also the survival of puppies is improved. They are very strong. They are very eager to eat, to suck milk from the females, and they are quite calm. They don't suffer from abdominal pain, from diarrhea. Also, the females are much calmer. They don't need to worry. The puppies just sleep, drink milk, and it's just nice to look at them, to watch them grow. Also, the absorption of food is better. I could limit the amount of food that I give to my animals because they were absorbing it much better. I didn't want them to get too fat, so I reduced the amount of food I gave them. And also, if you observe their when I observe excrements, it's better. I do not have to deworm them because there are no worms in their excrements. I sometimes give it to the lab to analysis. I do not have to give them any anti-parasite preparations because I think it's a disaster for their gastrointestinal tracts, so I don't have to poison them now. In their excrements, there are just no parasites in lab tests. I think they have this natural protection, natural production of natural production of mechanisms which protect them, and I also do not have to use anti-parasite preparations for my horses. I just use them once a year. And what I also noticed, less external parasites which proliferate in the skin. And I can also eliminate all chemical disinfectants for kennels, for disinfecting my house, which is better for our health, for our family, and for our pets. Thank you very much for your attention.